You wake up, you stretch, you reach for that first comforting drink without even thinking. Maybe it's coffee, a detox tea, or a fresh juice. It feels normal, familiar, a ritual that welcomes the day. But what if that habit was silently harming your heart? Because after 60, your body speaks a different language. The same drink that once energized you might now be the very thing pushing your heart into overdrive. No warnings, no pain, just quiet changes inside you that build up day after day. Until one morning, something feels off and you don't know why. If this message is already opening your eyes, take a moment right now, like this video, share it with someone you care about, and comment below your city and your age, because what you're about to hear could save a life, maybe even yours. You think you know your morning? You think you know your body. But every sip you take right after waking up sets off a chain reaction inside you. And for those over 60, that reaction can be much more intense than you ever imagined. It's not just a cup of coffee. It's not just a juice. It's a signal, a message to your heart, your vessels, your nervous system. And if the message is too loud, too sharp, too sudden, your heart doesn't whisper back. It struggles. You don't feel it right away. You feel alert, awake, maybe even sharp. That kick feels good, but what you don't see is the spike in adrenaline, the jump in heart rate, the tightening of your blood vessels. You don't feel your arteries working overtime. You don't feel your heart muscle subtly straining to keep up, but it is. And here's where the real danger lies. This isn't a one-time hit. This is your daily ritual. That morning jolt that seems harmless because it's part of your routine. And routine, over time, becomes belief. You believe it's good for you. You believe you need it. You believe it's just part of life. But what if that belief is outdated? What if your body, the body you've lived in for 6 decades, is asking for something different now? Something slower, gentler, more aligned with how your heart wants to start the day? Your cardiovascular system in your 60s is not the same system you had in your 30s. The walls of your arteries are less flexible. Your blood pressure responds more dramatically. Your hydration levels are more fragile. Your circulation is more sensitive. So when you throw something intense, like caffeine, sugar, or acidic compounds, into your system first thing in the morning, you create a storm. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. Because what the world markets as energizing might be, for you, silently exhausting. You don't crash like a teenager after a Red Bull. You fade, you tire easily. You notice your energy dips earlier than usual. You feel a little more drained in the afternoons. You think it's age, but what if it's not? Let's go deeper. Your morning drink isn't just a flavor, it's a biochemical signal. Coffee, it elevates cortisol. That's your stress hormone. Your blood pressure goes up, your blood vessels narrow, your heart rate rises. Sugar, it floods your bloodstream. Your pancreas panics, insulin surges, your arteries feel the impact. Even natural juices, orange, pineapple, apple, deliver a massive sugar spike that forces your body into overdrive just minutes after waking up. And here's something most people don't realize. Your body is already in a delicate state when you wake up. Your blood is thicker, your hydration is lower, your heart is more vulnerable. Why? Because during sleep, you lose water, you're fasting, you're resetting, and then, boom, you hit it with a strong stimulant or a sugary bomb. The heart doesn't scream in protest, it whispers. You feel a flutter, a skipped beat, a little pressure in your chest that comes and goes. You stand up too fast and feel dizzy. You brush it off. You blame poor sleep, or stress, or age. But inside, your body is waving a red flag. Then, a few days later, your feet feel heavier. Your ankles look puffier at night. Your shoes feel tighter. Again, you brush it off. It's hot. You've been walking a lot. You've eaten something salty, all possible. But what if the real reason is that your heart is beginning to struggle with the extra load? When circulation slows, even slightly, fluid starts to pool in your lower extremities. That's not just water, that's a warning. Your heart can't push as efficiently. And the more this happens, the more pressure builds in your blood vessels, creating a vicious cycle, day after day. And yet, you feel like you're doing the right things. You've stopped smoking, you go for walks, you're careful with salt, you check your blood pressure. But still, your energy feels off. You tire easily, you feel dizzy in the sun, you get short of breath climbing stairs, and it doesn't make sense. Here's the hidden piece no one talks about. Your morning drink may be one of the most overlooked threats to your cardiovascular health after 60. Not because the drink itself is evil, but because your body's needs have changed and your habits haven't. The most dangerous thing about habits is their invisibility. They don't ask for attention. They don't change suddenly. They don't alarm you. They blend into your life like background music until one day the melody changes, and by the time you hear it, the damage is underway. Let's take the example of coffee again. 1 or 2 cups may not seem like much. But for someone over 60, those cups, especially on an empty stomach, act like accelerators. Your heart starts the day like a sprinter, fast, intense, unsustainable. You ride that wave for a while, but the crash comes. It always does. And during that crash, your body seeks balance. But instead of resting, it's now inflamed, stressed, and dehydrated. That dehydration thickens your blood. It makes your heart work harder to push it. It raises your risk for clots. And yes, for many seniors, this becomes the root of silent strokes, heart attacks, or fainting episodes. Now imagine repeating this cycle every morning. Not once a week, not twice, but 7 days a week. 30 times a month, 365 times a year. The pressure compounds, the silent damage accrues, and one day your body can't compensate anymore, and you go to the doctor, and he says your EKG looks different, that your heartbeat is irregular, that your legs are showing signs of venous insufficiency, that your blood pressure is rising despite your lifestyle, and you sit there confused, because you've done everything right, except this one thing, this invisible thing. It's time to stop ignoring the signals, to stop believing that age alone explains every symptom, to stop assuming that because something is natural or common, it must be harmless. The truth is this: what you put in your cup each morning matters more now than ever, and the sooner you adjust to what your body actually needs, not what it craves, the longer, stronger, and more energized your life will be. You wouldn't think that something as ordinary as a morning drink could influence the outcome of your entire day, or the course of your heart's future. But it does. And once you start noticing the subtle shifts in your energy, mood, circulation, and resilience, you can't unsee them. They're there, waiting for you to acknowledge them, waiting for you to act before it's too late. Let's talk about inflammation, not the kind that shows up with fever or visible swelling, but the internal kind. Chronic, low-grade inflammation is now understood to be one of the leading contributors to heart disease. And what many people don't realize is how much your first meal or drink can trigger it. That glass of orange juice you sip thinking it's a healthy option, it might contain more sugar than a can of soda. Even when labeled 100% natural, the concentrated sugars can spike your insulin, leading to systemic inflammation. And if your body is already dealing with aging blood vessels, reduced elasticity in your arteries, or a slower metabolism, that inflammation becomes more than just a temporary flare-up. It becomes a constant stress signal to your heart, and yet this is rarely discussed. We focus on cholesterol, on sodium, on exercise, all important, yes, but no one asks what you drank before you even opened your eyes fully. No one considers how your circulatory system reacts to that very first input, but your body knows. Your heart responds, and over time, those responses become patterns. Patterns become dysfunction, and dysfunction becomes disease. You might be wondering how something so seemingly small can create such an outsized effect. It's simple. Your cardiovascular system is reactive, dynamic, alive. It adjusts to everything you consume, every signal you send, and it does so with precision. but that precision gets more fragile with age. Your margin for error shrinks. So when you flood your system with caffeine, sugar, acidic compounds, or chemical additives before your organs have had a chance to fully wake up, you're starting your engine on a cold morning, but slamming the accelerator at the same time. Imagine trying to drive a car without warming it up on a winter morning. The metal creaks. The oil hasn't circulated. The battery groans. The tires are stiff. It's not ready. That's what your body feels when your drink pushes too hard, too fast. And still, so many of us ignore the signs. The occasional racing heartbeat, the shortness of breath after mild exertion, the swelling in the legs by evening, the afternoon fatigue that feels heavier than it used to. Even changes in mood, feeling more irritable, anxious, or foggy for no clear reason. We call it aging. But aging isn't supposed to feel like this. Not this early, not this suddenly. These are signs of strain, of systems that were once in balance now being pushed beyond what they can handle. And one of the most overlooked offenders? Artificial sweeteners. You think you're making a smart choice, skipping the sugar, staying light. But compounds like aspartame, sucralose, and acetylsulfame potassium send false signals to your brain and gut. They confuse your insulin response. They create insulin resistance. And they've been linked to endothelial dysfunction, a fancy term for damage to the inner lining of your blood vessels. Your arteries aren't just pipes. They're intelligent, responsive tissues. They contract and relax based on what your body needs. When that function is disrupted, even slightly, you get stiffness, reduced oxygen delivery, higher blood pressure, and over time, an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. This is not fear-mongering, this is physiology. This is the reality many older adults face, silently, unknowingly, because no one ever taught them to question what's in their cup. And then there are energy drinks, labeled with lightning bolts, promises of focus, stamina, power. And marketed to younger people, sure. But don't think they haven't made their way into older hands. Whether for long drives, busy days with grandkids, or simply trying to feel young again, many seniors reach for these bottles. And that's a mistake. Because these drinks combine caffeine, taurine, sugar, B vitamins in unnatural concentrations, and a cocktail of preservatives, all of which slam your nervous system and cardiovascular function with a force that's anything but gentle. They raise your blood pressure, your heart rate. They increase the thickness of your blood. And if you're already taking medications for hypertension, cholesterol, or arrhythmias, you've just thrown a wrench into your body's ability to self-regulate. But it's not just about what's bad, it's also about what's missing. Hydration is the forgotten piece. Most people wake up dehydrated, and instead of rehydrating with water or herbal infusions, they choose drinks that further deplete their fluids. Caffeine is a diuretic. It makes you lose more water. Sugar increases your kidneys' workload. Artificial sweeteners confuse your body's hydration signals. The result? Thicker blood, poorer circulation, and a heart that works harder with every beat. This is why so many seniors feel lightheaded in the mornings, why they feel exhausted before lunch, why their legs feel heavy after walking short distances. It's not just age, it's not just stress, it's what you're putting into your body first thing, when your system is at its most vulnerable. But here's the good news. Your body is also incredibly forgiving when you give it what it needs. When you swap that first cup of overstimulation for something calming, when you hydrate gently, when you nourish instead of shock, the change can be profound. People report better energy, clearer minds, more stable blood pressure, less swelling, better sleep, even improved mood and digestion. It doesn't require a radical transformation. It starts with a single decision: what to drink first. That's your moment of power, the moment you choose what kind of day you'll have and what kind of future you're building for your heart. It starts there, every single morning, single. There's something deeply symbolic about the first thing you consume each morning. It's not just nutrition, it's direction. It tells your body which way to go, whether to move toward balance, calm, and vitality, or toward stress, inflammation, and imbalance. And after 60, the margin for error narrows. Your heart, once able to bounce back from anything, now asks for protection instead of provocation. Let's step into a real story now, because sometimes the truth hits harder when it wears someone's face. She's 68. Her name doesn't matter because she could be anyone. Your neighbor, your aunt, your wife, maybe even you. She gardens, takes care of her grandchildren 3 times a week, stays active, feels proud of her routine. Every morning she starts with a large cup of detox tea, herbal, all natural. She swears by it, says it makes her feel clean, light, and ready. At first, everything seems fine, better than fine. She feels focused, alert. But after a few months, things shift. Nothing dramatic, just subtle. She starts feeling dizzy when standing, her legs feel heavier, she blames the heat. Then one morning, going up the stairs she's climbed for years, she feels breathless, not gasping, just a little more tired than usual. She keeps going. Then it happens. Out walking her dog early one morning, she feels faint. The world spins. She loses her footing. She falls. Emergency room, IVs, tests, monitors, and finally, answers. Her heart is under strain, not failing, not yet, but showing signs of irregular rhythm. Her hydration levels are too low. Her blood pressure is erratic. And the culprit? Her beloved detox tea. You see, the herbs weren't toxic. But combined with her age, the tea's caffeine content, and natural diuretics, the drink was pulling fluid from her body every single morning, leaving her dehydrated, her blood thicker, her heart struggling silently to keep up. When her doctor explained it, she cried. Not because of the diagnosis, but because no one had warned her. No one had told her that something so natural could be risky, that what feels good isn't always what's right, that sometimes your body's sensitivity increases in ways you don't see, until it's too late. She thought she was doing something good for herself, and in a way, that's the hardest part. When your best intentions turn out to be misinformed, this isn't about blame, it's about clarity and courage. Because every day, people over 60 make choices based on outdated beliefs, advertising, or incomplete information. They trust that if something is sold in health stores, if it has herbs, if it's marketed as detox or clean, it must be safe. But the truth is, context matters. Your heart doesn't respond to marketing. It responds to chemistry. And at this stage in life, that chemistry can be very delicate. Your kidneys process fluids slower. Your liver metabolizes compounds differently. Your cardiovascular system needs steady, not sudden, nourishing, not draining. And many healthy drinks are actually the opposite. Take green tea, for example, loaded with antioxidants, yes, but also with caffeine. And when brewed strong or consumed in large amounts on an empty stomach, it can increase heart rate, cause jitters, and overstimulate the sympathetic nervous system. Yerba mate? Traditional, beloved, but also highly stimulating. And when mixed with other herbs or used daily without balance, it can create an environment of chronic stress in the body. Licorice root? Found in many herbal teas, but known to raise blood pressure and retain sodium, a dangerous combination for anyone with cardiovascular concerns. And even lemon water, if too acidic, can irritate the stomach lining or affect people with sensitive kidneys or low tolerance to citric acid. So the solution isn't panic, it's precision. It's learning to ask, what is this drink made of? What is its purpose? Is it gentle or aggressive, stimulating or calming, hydrating or draining? And more importantly, is it right for me now? Because what once worked in your 40s may no longer serve your 60s. What energized you then may now exhaust you. What was harmless may now carry weight. You are not the same body, not the same biochemistry. And that's not a loss, it's an invitation. to adapt, to upgrade, to evolve with your own biology. Let's turn now to hydration, true hydration. Water, yes, but also mineral balance. When you wake, your body is slightly dehydrated from hours of sleep. Your cells are thirsty, your blood is thicker, your muscles and organs are craving gentle replenishment. And what do we often give it? The opposite. A black coffee, a citrus blast, a dehydrating tea, a sugary juice. This is why so many people feel great at first, and worse by noon. It's not just their schedule or age, it's the missing minerals, the missing balance. Your body needs potassium, magnesium, and sodium in the right proportions to maintain healthy blood pressure and proper nerve signaling. When you strip those with diuretics, natural or synthetic, you create imbalance, and imbalance has consequences. You might notice your hands shake, or your heartbeat skips, or your focus drifts, or you get irritable for no clear reason. And all the while you think, I've had my vitamins, I slept okay, why do I feel off? Because balance isn't just about supplements or sleep. It's about the very first choice you make each day. And that choice, your first drink, is your foundation. Imagine starting each day by giving your heart what it truly needs. Not stimulation, not restriction, but support. A warm, mineral-rich herbal infusion, a glass of water with a pinch of natural salt and a squeeze of lemon, a gentle tea that calms instead of accelerates, a drink that says to your body, I see you, I'm with you. Let's begin the day in peace. Because how you begin sets the tone for how you respond to everything else. Stress, decisions, emotions, tasks, digestion, movement, they're all downstream from your first signal. The woman from the story? She changed her ritual, slowly, with guidance, and now she starts her morning with a different drink, one that hydrates, that calms, that doesn't spike her cortisol or strip her minerals. And the difference? Her dizziness faded, her legs stopped swelling, her energy returned, not with a jolt, but with a steady hum, like her body finally exhaled after months of silent stress. It didn't require medication or surgery, just awareness and action. You have that same power. The question is, will you use it? Most people think danger comes with noise, with alarms, with pain. But when it comes to your heart, the warning signs are often quiet. They slip in like whispers, a slightly tighter shoe, a deeper sock mark on your ankle, a breath that feels a bit shorter than yesterday. You don't fall, you don't faint, you just notice, and then forget, because forgetting is easy when the discomfort is mild, when the body seems to adjust, when you have errands to run and people to care for. But that's the moment when everything begins to shift. Not with a bang, but with a quiet compromise between your heart and your habits. Your body keeps compensating, trying to protect you, and you, unknowingly, keep asking it to carry more than it can safely bear. The swelling, that's fluid. It's your heart saying, I can't pump as efficiently as before. The breathlessness, it's not just fatigue, it's your circulation trying to deliver oxygen with limited power. The brain fog, the irritability, the restless sleep, they're all symptoms downstream of a system under pressure. And again, we return to that single overlooked culprit, your morning drink. It's astonishing how one routine act can ripple through your body all day long. Take a sugary juice, for example, orange, apple, even fresh pressed. The sugar rush it delivers can spike your insulin, promote inflammation, and alter your blood vessels' ability to expand and contract naturally. That stiffness, it's not just in your joints, it's in your arteries too. And when arteries become stiff, they can no longer cushion the force of each heartbeat. That's when blood pressure rises. That's when microdamage happens inside your vessels. That's when plaque begins to stick, silently, day by day. Now let's look at artificial drinks. 0 sugar, no calories, healthy energy. All these labels promise safety, but behind the label, your body finds stress, Aspartame, it crosses the blood-brain barrier and may alter neurotransmitter function. Sucralose, it's been shown to impact the gut microbiome, which in turn affects metabolism and even blood pressure regulation. These aren't just ingredients, they're signals that confuse your system and eventually wear it down. But here's what makes this so deceptive. You don't feel it right away. In fact, you might feel fine, even good. That's the trap, because the damage is slow, cumulative. It builds like layers of fog, so gradually that you forget what clarity used to feel like, until one day, something breaks. Maybe it's a fall, maybe it's a frightening visit to the ER, maybe it's a test result that reads differently than the one last year. Whatever it is, it brings you face to face with the cost of all those harmless mornings. And by then, you start questioning everything. You ask what went wrong, why it happened, what you missed, and the answer, so often, is found not in a dramatic event, but in a daily decision. That decision is still in your hands. You can shift your routine before your body forces you to. You can begin listening now, before the whispers become screams. Let's talk about what should be in your cup, not the fads, not the labels, but the substances your heart actually welcomes. Start with hibiscus tea. It's tart, vibrant, and backed by science. Rich in anthocyanins, natural antioxidants, hibiscus has been shown to lower both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. It calms without sedating, it supports without straining, and it tastes like vitality. Then there's golden milk, a comforting blend of turmeric, ginger, and warm milk. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds known. It soothes the endothelium, the inner lining of your blood vessels. Ginger supports digestion and circulation, and the warmth helps your nervous system shift out of fight or flight. Beet juice, a miracle in disguise. Rich in nitrates, it helps relax and dilate blood vessels, improving blood flow and oxygen delivery. Just a few ounces in the morning, not chugged but sipped slowly, can lower blood pressure and enhance exercise performance even in seniors. Warm lemon water, simple but powerful, not acidic when metabolized, it actually alkalizes the body gently and stimulates digestion. Add a few grains of Himalayan salt or a magnesium supplement, and you've created a mineral-rich tonic that replenishes what the night took from you. Chamomile tea at night, because what begins well should also end well. Chamomile doesn't just help you sleep, it relaxes vascular tension. It allows your heart to rest more deeply, and deeper rest means better healing, more regulation, and more resilience. But beyond ingredients, what matters most is the message you send your body with each sip. Is it a message of panic? Wake up now, push harder, go faster? Or is it a message of partnership? We're in this together. Let's begin softly, wisely, with care. Your heart hears every message, and as the years pass, it becomes more sensitive to those signals. It works tirelessly for you, and yet it's often the most neglected part of your morning. You stretch, you shower, you eat. But what about your heart? Do you speak to it kindly? Do you give it what it needs? Because this organ, no bigger than a fist, carries your life in its rhythm, and every choice you make either supports that rhythm or disrupts it. Here's what too few people understand. Prevention isn't just about doing the right things, it's about stopping the wrong ones early enough, before they become disease, before they become regret. And that starts with honesty. Looking into your cup and asking, is this really serving me? It may taste good, it may be familiar, but if it's silently pulling hydration, spiking your stress hormones, stiffening your vessels, or confusing your metabolism, then maybe it's time to let it go. You're not giving up comfort. You're choosing a different kind of comfort, one rooted in clarity, vitality, and peace. You're not surrendering pleasure. You're discovering a deeper one. The pleasure of waking up without fog, walking without fatigue, climbing stairs without panting, living without fear, and that is what your heart truly wants. Not another pill, not another fix, just your attention, your kindness, your awareness. Every morning you have the power to give that, will you? Some stories don't need a dramatic ending, they just need truth. A quiet truth that sits with you long after the screen fades to black. That's the kind of story your heart tells every day, in silence, in rhythm, in persistence. And all it ever asks in return is that you listen, truly listen. We live in a world that rewards speed, quick fixes, strong starts, morning boosts. But nature doesn't operate that way. The sun doesn't leap into the sky, it rises slowly. Trees don't snap into bloom, they unfold gently. And your heart too was designed for rhythm, not shock, for flow, not jolt, for balance, not extremes. So let's pause. Let's return to the one sign that could save your life if you don't ignore it. Mild swelling around the ankles by evening. Not pain, not redness, just a slight tightness. A deeper sock mark. A feeling of fullness in your feet. You brush it off. Everyone does. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't stop you. It's just there. But that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Because when your heart isn't pumping efficiently, when it's beginning to lose the strength or coordination it once had, the blood doesn't return from your lower limbs the way it should. Fluid leaks from your vessels, it settles into the tissues of your ankles and feet, and by the time you notice it, it's already a message that your heart is working harder than it should, that your vessels are under strain, that your circulation is slowing, not catastrophically, but silently. You don't need panic, you need presence. That swelling, paired with fatigue, shortness of breath, or occasional irregular beats, is a red flag. A soft one, yes, but real. And responding to it early can change everything. Because here's the truth. No one wants to say out loud, most heart damage isn't caused by a single event. It's caused by 1,000 quiet mornings when we weren't paying attention. By the ritual that became routine. By the comfort that hid the cost. And still, it's not too late. You can begin again. You can walk into your kitchen tomorrow morning and make a new choice. One that honors your heart, your body, your future. You can choose a drink that doesn't pull water from your system but restores it. You can choose a start that doesn't shock your nervous system but grounds it. You can choose to believe that your health is not just in your genes or your pills, it's in your habits. And those habits begin in the first 5 minutes of your day. No one else can make that choice for you, but you're not alone. Thousands of people are waking up to this truth, sometimes literally. They're stepping away from the stimulants, the sugar, the artificial. They're discovering what it means to feel good, not from a spike, but from a steady, deep well of real energy. They're sleeping better, breathing easier, thinking clearer, loving longer, not because they found some secret supplement, but because they began to see the invisible, the quiet choices, the morning rituals, the way their body was asking, whispering for help. And finally, they listened. So, what will you choose? Tomorrow morning, when you reach for that cup, will you pause? Will you ask your body what it really needs? Will you remember the woman who fainted during a walk and how one small change gave her a second chance? Will you remember that your heart is not invincible, but it is resilient, and that resilience starts with you? If this message moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video now, share it with someone you love, someone whose heart you care about, and comment below, what's in your morning cup? Where are you watching from? And how old is the heart you're protecting? Because this channel is more than just information. It's a movement. A commitment to aging with strength, with clarity, and with love. Your morning matters. Your cup matters. You matter. And the time to act is now.